Hey, gals and guys, this is Christopher Mosier from MyMediaHelper.com, and I just walk around Western New York towns and film, see if people are interested in just seeing the town, and I try to keep them pretty raw with a little explanation behind them, a little history. This time out, I'm going to check out the shar-LOT area, the shar-LOT, New York area, and this is the route we're going to take. We're going to start at Turning Point Park, and then we're going to go over to the marina, and then there's a lighthouse right over here. And then there's a town, kind of abandoned, small little shopping area. Then we're going to go down to the beach, and then there's another little town, little area where they have restaurants and things of that nature. It used to be built up a lot more. It's not so much anymore. Such as time. So let's start out at Turning Point. I just want to show this to you. So we're going to go down here. Look at this bridge. This is a walking bridge. It's pretty spectacular. And just to show you the length of this thing, and then we'll get deeper. We'll get closer to it. That's how long that thing is. And then the marina is over here, and then the lighthouse is right here. So just kind of give you a kind of a idea of the land area that is going to be visited. But like I said, I'm going to start off at Turning Point, and we'll take it from there. According to the City of Rochester.gov website, located in shar-LOT neighborhood near Lake Ontario on Rochester's northwest side, Turning Point Park covers 275 wooded acres along the banks of the Genesee River. Hiking and biking trails will help you discover the park's distinct areas, from the wooded oak forest called Bullock's Woods to the cattail-lined shores of the river. Enjoy the nature watching and beautiful river views from its trails. Turning Point's Boardwalk and Trail won the American Public Works Association Transportation Project of the Year Award in 2008. The trail consists of 3 parts: a 2,968-foot land-based trail that utilized an old railroad bed to transition from the top of the bank to the river's edge, a 3,572-foot long bridge over the Genesee River Turning Basin, and an all-new land-based trail, 3,406 feet in length, through Turning Point Park North and adjacent to the Genesee Marina. The park's trail continues on to connect to the Genesee River Trail. Take the trail, explore over 16 miles of Rochester by reaching Ontario Beach Park, which we'll be making our journey to the north, or downtown to the south. So from Turning Point, we're going to go over to the marina and Marine Drive. I believe it's Marine Drive, and here's the distance from it. You can actually walk it. There's actually a trail over to it. Due to time, I didn't do that. I have done it before, so it's not that terrible. This is where we're going. So here's Turning Point, and there's Marina Drive, and there's just the sign of Shumway Marine, and this is just their website. So we're going to be headed there. I did a little video there. And then just as this is a Rochester Yacht Club. So let's take a look at that. So the first place we're going here is Shumway Marine, and I'm just doing a 360 view of just to show you the area. Shumway Marine is a privately owned marina built in 1968 with 225 fixed steel and concrete slips, able to accommodate up to 60-foot boats. Main concerns are with waves generated by a north-northeast wind. Under these conditions, wave action propagates upstream and causes damage to vessels and docks. Well, that's not good. Pier failure could cause this issue to increase. So we'll just walk around there a bit, and then we're going to go down to the Rochester, or I should say the Genesee Yacht Club. That's a privately owned marina as well, with 47 slips, able to accommodate boats up to 38 feet. Piers serve to provide an open channel to the lake for vessels. And according to this, see, that says the Genesee Yacht Club. This says the Rochester Yacht Club. I'm on their official site. So the Rochester Yacht Club says in the spring of 1877, an active group of local boaters formed the Rochester Yacht Club, one of the oldest yacht clubs in the United States, with the purpose of promoting, educating, and celebrating life on the water. Along the way, our members have charted a course enabling us to prevail to uncharted rough waters of wars, pandemics, and economic storms. Over 140 plus years later, the RYC, the Rochester Yacht Club, has grown into a highly distinguished and respected club. Our Burgee, B-U-R-G-E-E, our Burgee? I don't know what this says. Our Burgee, I don't know what that means, is recognized around the world for our continuing contributions to the maritime community, our world-class regattas, and dedication to the sport of sailing. Someone has really rated the Webster Dictionary here. All right, so from the marina, which is here where we just were, and we're going to go over past the bridge again, and this is going to be the Genesee Lighthouse, and here's a view from it there, and there's their official website. There's just an aerial view of the area. So let's take a look at that. if you're at the lighthouse, once you visit the lighthouse, if you walk down this street here and then go down Ladder Road, what you're going to see is the old subway system. And let me see, I had it up here. Here's the old subway system for Rochester. So here's the shar-LOT stops. That's what you saw in the video. So we're also going to go into the town. There used to be businesses. I'm assuming it used to be thriving businesses. It's kind of dumpy now, which I'm going to walk around, and then I'll read off a little history about the lighthouse and the area. So in the 1500s, the Genesee River was a popular waterway for the Seneca Nation, a tribe of Iroquois confederacy whose war parties held sway over territories from New England down to North Carolina. Jesuit missionaries and French adventurers found their way to the region in the late 1600s, and in 1788, the land around the future port of Genesee was purchased from the Seneca Indians. Soon thereafter, trader William Hincher, along with his wife Matilda and their 8 children, arrived in the area via an ox-pulled sled and acquired a few acres on a hill overlooking the west bank of the Genesee River. In 1804, President Thomas Jefferson decreed that the 70-mile stretch extending along the southern shore of Lake Ontario from Oak Orchard to Sodus Bay would become an official port district, centered as a juncture of Genesee River and the lake. Samuel Latta was appointed customs collector. In his first year, he managed collection of just $22.50, while incurring $24 in expenses. The port was destined to grow in importance, and soon Genesee River became home to 5 boat-building yards, 3 railroads, 3 grain elevators, a dry dock, and numerous ferries. Just 6 miles to the south of the port, in the village of shar-LOT, stood the city of Rochester, which, having access to 3 waterfalls, became a vital flour milling center. Ships entering the port were originally guided by either a torch on a large pilot tree or a lamp atop one of the region's early hotels. In 1821, the recently widowed Matilda Hincher was paid $400 for a 4-acre plot to be used for lighthouse purposes. Ashbel Simmons was awarded the lighthouse contract, which included a tower, a 20 by 34-foot 2-room keeper's cottage, and a well, and the construction project was completed during a 7-month period in 1822 at the cost of $3,301. The 40-foot tower was built of native sandstone and topped by an 8-sided iron lantern containing 144 panes of glass and supported by 2.5-foot-long square posts that extended 6 feet into the tower's stonework. A separate contract had been awarded for fitting the lighthouse with patent lamps and reflectors in the same manner Winslow Lewis had equipped other U.S. lighthouses. There was quite a competition for the position of keeper, despite the paltry annual salary of $350. Giles Holden, a candidate whose resume included a stint as assistant customs collector, enjoyed the strong backing of many influential citizens, but was nevertheless passed over in favor of a David Denman, an elderly veteran. When Denman died shortly into his term, Holden did in fact get the job and would raise some of his 10 children at the lighthouse before retiring and moving across the street 12 years later. Even with the lighthouse, the sandbars at the Marshy River entrance proved troublesome to ship traffic. To remedy this, a pair of 2,600-foot-long piers spaced about 360 feet apart was built at the river's mouth in 1829. As land filled in around the piers, the entrance to the river essentially shifted northward away from the lighthouse, and other lighting options for the port were considered. So there's the lighthouse, and this is what we just explored right here, like a commercial district right here, and then there's another commercial district way down here towards the lake, which we'll take a look at in a bit, and that's right here. And this is where we end up. This is going to be the pier and the beach, and I'll be parking right here, and that's what you're going to see next in this video. An 1838 report to the Secretary of the Treasury by Lieutenant Charles T. Platt made it clear that the Genesee station was not in ideal condition. The 10 lamps were worn out, 14 of the glass panes in the lantern were broken, and the lighthouse deck leaked. The report did praise the keeper and noted the supplies provided under contract were without fault. Rather than supplementing the present light with a cheap beacon light on the pier, Platt recommended a new stone lighthouse capable of serving as both a coast and harbor light be built on the west pier at the cost of $11,000. Though Platt felt his plan would be cheaper in the long run, the government opted to keep the 1822 lighthouse in operation and construct a frame beacon light on the pier. This wooden pierhead tower, which also employed Lewis's method of lighting via lamps and reflectors, was badly damaged by storms and was replaced in 1854. The second pier light used a 6-order Fresnel lens which lit up 270-degree arc. The keeper of the still active shar-LOT Genesee Lighthouse was also responsible for the pier beacon, but an assistant was assigned to the station to help with the workload. The keepers used an elevated footbridge to reach the pierhead tower in stormy weather. As a precaution, the keeper would at times fasten a safety rope to a railing and on the footbridge to keep from being washed away, and for better traction in winter, they often wore cleats on their shoes. Coiler Cook served until 1853 as assistant keeper of the shar-LOT Genesee Lighthouse, which his father Michael Cook had helped build. His replacement was his own cousin, Samuel Phillips, whose duty was to tend to the pier light, while Luther Jeffords, the head keeper, minded the main light. On the evening of August 18th of 1853, Phillips twice attempted to reach the pier light by boat, but was stymied by heavy seas. Not ready to give up, Phillips asked Cuyler to make another attempt with him. After reaching the pierhead, Phillips disembarked from the rowboat and lit the beacon, but while preparing to leave the pier, he was knocked over by a large wave. Phillips managed to grab onto a bolt that had been set into the pier just the previous day, and once on his feet again climbed back up onto the safety of the tower. In the meantime, Coiler Cook's boat had capsized, and after trying in vain to cling to the vessel, he set out for the pier. Battered by large waves, Cook was eventually taken under and drowned. Phillips was stranded at the beacon all night until a lifeboat reached him the next day. As the lake was still turbulent, the rescuers threw Phillips a line to tie about his waist, and after he jumped in the water, they pulled him to safety. The inscription on Cook's gravestone reads, "To God above his spirit yield, he took him his strength in bloom. When struggling with the seas and waves, he wove his garland for the tomb." Cook wasn't the only death associated with the lighthouse. The body of keeper John Stevenson was found in the river over a decade later, and there were suspicions of foul play. So there's a lot more to the history and to the story of the lighthouse, and I'll put a link down below if you care to read the rest of it. So at this point, I had to change out the SD card in my camera, and the SD card was faulty, so I wasn't able to pick up the rest of the video. But we were on our last last leg of the trek anyways, and this is right about where I stopped filming, where you saw, actually it was right here. And then you can just walk up the pier, and here's another lighthouse right here, the beacon, and you can kind of see it right there. And then I did walk around the other part of like the commercial district from this end. And this is it right here. It's not much different than what I would have filmed. That's the entrance of Ontario Beach. And then this was the old, that's Abbott's right there. And then we've got the old Penny Arcade. And I've been there many, many times. I used to go see a gentleman named John Volby. Very not politically correct music at all. This used to be a nightclub. It's been in several things, I do believe. Back in, the 1990s, it used to be a nightclub. And then if you come up here, there's a couple restaurants. One being Mr. Dominic's. It used to be really good. I haven't been there in years, so I'm not sure how the food is these days, but it used to be excellent. So there's a restaurant right here. I believe that's a bar right there. And I think there's another bar right next door, if I'm not mistaken. And that's about it as far as that's concerned. So that's it, gals and guys. I just wanted to show you a little journey around the shar-LOT area if you happen to want to visit, or maybe you're revisiting. Just maybe you lived here and just wanted to check out the video, or just wanted an idea where to go for a day excursion. It's an excellent adventure for you. So that's it, gals and guys. That's all I got for you as far as this video is concerned this time out, and I'll be exploring other Western New York towns because that's what I do. And I thank you as always. I appreciate you as always. If you could please subscribe, I would appreciate that. Please like the video. Please share the video. And please hit the bell for updates. And that's it this time out. I wish you peace.